Welcome to episode 37 of Beer with Strangers. I'm your host, Tony Russo. And just because I complimented him just because we had a little technical difficulties, stay with us. Just because I complimented him last week, Doug decided that he wasn't going to be able to make it. So we've got Sean pinch hitting again. Hello, Sean.
Hey.
And also no weather. When there's Doug, ain't no sunshine when he's gone. Ain't no weather when he's gone. This week, lots of fun stuff. Before we get into that, just real quick, if you'd like to join us, the quick question and answer, the Q&A is enabled. Please type anything in you want to talk about, and we will talk about it. Sean knows lots of stuff. I talk a lot, so
If I don't know it, I'll pretend I do.
yes. So if you want to know anything about brewing, home brewing, questions, concerns, problems, just let us know, and we'll address them on the air. And also, if you want to find out more about the Beer with Strangers podcast, or do you want to find out more about Extreme Brewing, you can do that at extremebrewing.com. XTREMEBREWING, all one word.com. Also visit us at stateofthebeer.com, where you're watching this, if you're watching this.
Extreme Brewing spelled normal works as well, too.
Oh, and
we took both sites.
Awesome. Well, that's convenient. So let's get right into it. This week there was the Good Beer Festival in Salisbury, and you were pouring both days.
Yes, I was.
And tell me about your experience. I'll tell you about my experience.
Well, day one, weather started terrible. Rain, cold. We pretty much decided that, it's going to be a slow day. Next thing I know, I have 30-some people in front of me in line, and it didn't stop. From about 1 o'clock to 5:30-ish, we blew through close to about 18 gallons of beer.
Wow.
In that short time. The beers I thought would be going first went last. The beers I kind of was surprised about was we have a beer called Dirty Banana. Gets banana ester from the yeast. It has chocolate, red pepper flake. It's part wheat, part barley. It's kind of all over the place, and people were going crazy for it.
That's it. You know what? That's a good beer. I usually don't like those kind of Swedish beers, and the name Dirty Banana is scary, but it's not too banana-y, nor is it too dirty-y.
No. The red pepper flake kind of gets people. They're not really quite expecting that. But we had a group of guys who I guess were just going around to everybody saying, yeah, this beer's good, but you need to go try this beer.
Right.
And everybody made their way over to us. And, blueberry cider. First time we've made it.
Yeah.
Didn't get to taste any.
Gone. I didn't get any either.
It was gone in a matter of no time. The other beer we had was Ginger Saison, which we tried a new Abbey Ale strain with. It was a big hit. And Coffee and Cream Stout, which was originally supposed to be on Sunday for the hangover people, but we kind of messed that up a little bit. So Saturday people got it. And I did get to break away for about an hour to go try some beers, and everybody was really on point. There was a couple, of course, there's a couple that I wasn't too fond of, but I gave them a try. And some of the local guys who were just getting started had some very solid beers. One kind of stands out is Real Ale Revival. I think it's Nantucket Nectar.
No, it's not Nantucket. It is...
No, not Nantucket. Nanticoke.
Nanticoke Nectar.
Yeah.
Bucktown Brown. No, yeah, Nanticoke Nectar and Bucktown Brown.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't have a Nantucket near us, so I don't know why I said that. But that IPA was spot on.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then Sunday came, weather cleared up, and not as many people came out. I think
that was the most surprising thing to all. I thought it was going to be a madhouse on Sunday.
I think a lot of people were still hungover and just said, I can't
do it.
My liver can't do 2 days. We still went through a very large amount of beer. I think we probably went through 10 to 12 gallons of beer total. Really good response to all our beers.
And you got to kind of show off your Citra.
Yeah, my CPA, which I drank a fair share of myself.
That was so good. I really enjoyed that.
Quite a few people who were really into hops liked it. You get the occasional people who are like, "Oh, Citra sounds good," and they're not into IPAs, and you get to watch a pretty funny face when that happens.
What I like about that beer is it's not too floral, which is my turnoff for IPAs. I
Okay.
don't like a lot of nose. I like it. I like, it's not. It's like I get it here, but like when you're pouring it, I can't.
Right. With that one, I think it doesn't have as much floral hops. It's more like a ripe grapefruit.
Mhm.
Which it's there's a lot of hops in the. There's 3 ounces for 5 gallons just in dry hop alone.
Wow.
So it is incredibly aromatic in a citrusy way.
Mm-hmm.
So people who really wanted an IPA that didn't just latch onto your tongue and
Right.
hang out there.
The question is poop. The answer is no. I
Not
think.
yet.
But
Maybe
thank
later.
you, Caden.
I lost my track of thought now. So when completely I lost it. It's gone.
That's okay. We can. What I wanted to say to you is, one day I'm going to remember to bring back some of that carton boat beer from New Jersey, which is that same very great poopy, great poopy
Yes.
kind of way.
The other beer we had on was the Turkey Drool, which is it's a dark amber ale. It's got honey, vanilla, Turkish cherry pits, and a Mexican spice called episode. And a lot of people see the name Drool in a beer, and they're like, okay, I'll try it. Why not? And so it went over really well. I think the other one we had on was a Scotch ale.
The Jerry Scotch ale.
Yeah, and I think it actually went.
That's one of my favorites. I really like that.
It went most out of all of them. I think it wasn't like anything else they had at the fest, but it wasn't over the top.
Right.
So people could really drink it and kind of take a break from some of the wild and crazy stuff.
And now one of those is being made professionally someplace now. Is it the
Josh's Turkey Drool?
Yeah.
Yeah. Josh. I can't remember Josh's last name. I'm sorry if you're watching.
That's okay.
Josh used to work for us many moons ago. He quit right before I started.
Right.
Him and his lovely wife moved to New Mexico. She had a job waiting for when he got there, and he found a job at a place called Tractor Brewing. And they have actually put Turkey Drool on. I think it's a once a year thing, and they have a really neat webpage that talks about the whole thing about Turkey Drool.
That's awesome.
So, and I think the other one we had was spiced apple cider.
The spiced apple cider was the second day.
Second day.
Second day.
Yep.
Yes. One of the things that I thought went very well, maybe I think that there's going to be some tweaking because of the sound issues, was we had all of the local brewers were there answering questions and doing talks. Among my favorite, among my favorite beers that I'd never tried before, because I'd had most of them, but the guy from Warlock, which is not even open yet.
Right.
Did you try the Oktoberfest?
Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness! Did you enjoy
it was
that?
So good. It was very
just
very good.
A home run beer. Warlock Brewing is in Smyrna, Delaware, and they will be opening They're open today. They'll open in the next 2 weeks. They're opening. If they're not open, they're about to open, and their stuff is really, really good. The other opportunity we got to try in the beer tent, in the homebrew tent, was from Mispillion Brewing, and they've been on the show before, and they're great guys. And I tried their pumpkin, and that was one of those pumpkins that was perfectly acceptable to me.
Yeah, I'm not. As I've discussed a million times, I'm not huge into pumpkin, but it actually was a easy drinking, not in your face pumpkin beer, and that's what I like.
I had the opportunity. I went with, I can't remember his name, Cook. He had the shirt on, said Cook on it. Big guy. He did the peanut butter pumpkin.
Oh, Brian.
Brian, right? So Brian insisted that we go down to the Southern Tier and try their pumpkin mixed with stout.
Oh, the Warlock.
Was that the name of their stout?
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It took the pumpkinness out of the pumpkin.
I can't agree with that at all.
I
tried it. It just tasted like pumpkin that somebody put black food coloring in.
Like black pumpkin.
So
very overwhelming beer.
I think pumpkin used to be my favorite pumpkin beer when I actually liked pumpkin beer. Now it is hands down my least favorite.
Yeah. Too
It's-
sweet.
Yeah, it tastes fake to me.
Yeah.
It was funny. I saw National Premium
Yes,
representing. I was like,
well,
what?
I guess that was I didn't think I could taste it anyway, so I didn't try it. That's brand new back. They got the recipe, as I understand this. I'm sorry, for you guys who are out of town. Natty Bo, it used to be a Baltimore beer. Now it's Russian, I think.
Yes.
But it came from National Premium, which also used to be a Baltimore beer. And as I understand it, somebody licensed it. Somebody got their hands on the license, and I do not know if they also got their hands on the recipe. But either way, they both they're making it now. I've not yet to try it. I don't think it's made here though. I don't think it's made in Maryland.
It is made. It's made from, because I looked on the website because I was like, what's this National Premium? I want to say it's Annapolis. And it's really only distributed on the eastern shore and a little bit on the west.
Oh, really?
From what the little map, like where you can get it and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna blow your mind.
No.
But it's kind of a Natty Bo, PBR, Jenny Cream Ale,
Right in that.
what have you, wherever you live locally, that yellow fizzy water stuff that's made locally for cheap.
Right.
Hipster beer.
Hipster beer.
I knew about it before you did. But
I stopped liking hipster beer before everyone else did.
It's not bad. It's drinkable.
It's just regular beer. It's beer flavored beer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beerish flavored beer. it's a hint of beer.
It's got, I'm detecting notes of beer in this.
Yes. There might be some in here.
Another great talk we had was Brian Brushmiller from Burley Oak was out, and he talked about his souring program, or his sour beers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of funny. He took it like a champ, but someone was being a little critical of the way he did things. This guy got up, and I guess he had plenty to drink, because he said, "How come no one's making watermelon beers except 21st Amendment? And why don't you guys make watermelon beers?" And what I would have said is, because watermelon beers are terrible, and no one should make them. But Brian, he really fended off quite nicely. He's like, you know what? It's just, it's not our thing. We try to do a lot of local stuff. We don't do a pumpkin beer. There are just some things that we're not into. It's hard to get, the right kind of local watermelons, and it didn't seem worth it to us to make that effort. What he left out was their second year or their first year. They did this. I think it may have been the first year they were open. They did this beer called Not Your Average Gourd,
mm-hmm.
which was a squash beer. They got all the squash from Wright's Market out here in Salisbury, and that was a solid beer. I remember really liking that, but it just.
I think there's one like that on now there.
Is there?
I was there the other night, and I think they might have something in that ballpark. I didn't have it. I was drinking the other stuff they had on tap, but I want to say I think it was there. Some kind of harvest ale thing.
Oh, well, that's
Third
good.
Wave makes a sour watermelon lambic.
I remember they made the watermelon beer a couple years ago. Lori told that story on the podcast. Remember, they trade grain. Many of you know this, but some of you don't. Brewers will often trade grain for stuff with local farmers. I know that Brian used to get a cow so he would give his spent grain to a local dairy farmer, and that dairy farmer would butcher him a cow and give him a cow's worth of meat, which is a pretty good deal for garbage.
Yeah.
And so Lori from Third Wave was here on the podcast early on, and she was explaining to us that whatever they thought they were going to get from the farmer they were dealing with failed, and so he just gave them a couple pallets of watermelons. And she said to her brewer, "What are we going to do with this?" And he's like, "Well, I guess we're going to see if we can make watermelon beer."
Well, they threw a lot of that in an oak barrel, and they soured it as a lambic, and it was really, really good. But as for Hell or High Watermelon,
yes, I can live without that. I think I may have told this story before.
Top 10 beers I could never drink again and be perfectly okay with it.
I was sitting with my brother in a bar in Philadelphia, and I just saw Hell or High Water. I didn't see the melon part. And I saw 21st Amendment Brewing, and I'd never heard of it. I'm like, well, I'll try Hell or High Water, and I'll see what it is. And my brother, the whole time, he's looking at me, and I take a sip, and I'm like, and he starts laughing. I made a face, and he started laughing. And he's like, you didn't know that was watermelon, did you? And I said, no. He said, it's bad, isn't it? I'm like, it is terrible.
You know, I met some people who absolutely love that beer.
It's one of those things.
It's available, I think, year round.
Yeah, you can get it.
21st Amendment's a damn solid brewery. But, I
like their IPA. I don't recall what it's Live Free or Die or
Live Free or Die
IPA. Yeah. I enjoyed that. One of the breweries that I didn't get a chance to get to was the Fordham stuff. Did you get anything from Fordham while you were there?
I don't know if I did or not. I think it's one of the. I was trying to try some of the non-local.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I hit the locals that I don't get to very often.
Did you have any favorites from the non-locals? What stood out for you?
Sculpin IPA, but I've had Sculpin so many times. I love that IPA. It's top 5 in my opinion. What else did I have? I had a little too much, I guess.
Yeah, well, I was on my way over to the Samuel Adams tent, and I just kind of stopped cold, and I ended up going to the Brewer's Art, and it was really kind of funny because they make the Sweet Baby Jesus, and that again is one of those beers that has its fans.
That's Duclaw.
Oh, what did I say? Brewer's Art?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, I get them confused because they're both from Baltimore.
Yeah.
Is that a good reason to get them confused?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Brewer's Art does. Oh, that's what I did try. They're renamed Aussie beer. Still tastes awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I went to try the Duclaw. They have a chocolate stout. And I don't know why I thought I would like it, given that I didn't like the peanut butter and chocolate stout. And
it's not that I don't like the flavor; it's just so thin.
For as sweet as it is.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of, for me, not a lot of guts.
Now Duclaw had Devil's Milk on, which is I'm not a huge Duclaw fan. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. I think the problem is when I went there, I was already had a few. And when you get their sampler, you get everything. And I think I had a 15 sampler flight. So by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, I can see sounds now.
Right.
But they had this barley wine called Devil's Milk, and in my opinion, it's
you can get
proper.
That. You can get that here. You can get that in bottles, can't you?
I haven't seen it. That's not saying that it's not there. I just haven't looked for it. But I took a growler of it home that day, and a growler of barley wine's a lot of barley wine, but it was so good. So if you get out there and you like barley wines, definitely try that one. It's very good in my opinion.
And we'll use that as a transition to talk about the pouring, the Delmarva United Homebrewers. They had a bunch of bars. They were just a lot left over from the competition, or lots of barley wines. All of them solid.
And barley wine's a style that I don't see picking up. It's just kind of if you're a diehard brewer, you maybe make one, but it's not something you go somewhere and see on tap, which is understandable. It's like a nightcap beer. It's kind of an imperial stout in its own way, and
it's really almost like a wine. It's
very sweet, low carbonation.
I love them. I love them in the
alcohol.
wintertime. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's definitely a winter warmer.
I'll get those. I'll get them in the bombers. They sell the bombers. I'll get a bomber of that and have one of those.
I had a 10-year-old bottle of Old School.
And how was that? And that was at what, 15% alcohol, I guess, after 10 years there.
Oh, it doesn't really get any stronger, but I don't remember what it was originally, but it was amazing. So if you get a 6-pack of Old School, put one away in a closet somewhere, forget about it. Don't open until doomsday kind of thing, and it will be worth the wait, in my opinion.
The other thing that I wanted to ask you, there was, I don't know if it's controversy is the right word, but I was speaking with Andy Kitzrow today at the county, and he said he was surprised that fewer homebrew people that there were so few entries.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate the compliment there, buddy.
We're answering the question: the sweetness of your beer. The sweetness of your beer is yes. Thank you for
I
Scout.
splashed some homebrew I was making today on there, so it probably is a little extra sweet.
Awesome.
I think part of it was I don't know. There's no way I can say this pleasantly, but
let me ask you questions, and you can just answer yes or no. Do you think it had anything to do with the fact that it wasn't BJCP, BGCCA? Okay.
What?
That it was
BJCP?
That it wasn't being judged for the website, or for
that might had a little bit to do with it.
Or that there was a limit on the entries this year.
100. We got 44-ish.
Mm-hmm. But the limit was in the number of.
Limit was 100 total entries.
Right, but so we could only enter 2 at a time.
Yes.
Right.
But
do you think that had anything to do with it, or
last year there was some issues after the event. Some people didn't get scores back, and some people didn't.
That's what the prevailing the prevailing thought is, that last year didn't go so well, but this year went splendidly as far as I could tell.
Everything has been mailed out to everyone that entered. We did have a slight hiccup in mailing things out, but it's completely worked out.
Cool.
Luckily, everybody we've dealt with has been absolutely phenomenal. We thank you all so much for working with us. And anybody who entered or anybody who came out, thank you again. But one small hiccup out of our first time doing it, I think that's fantastic.
Cool.
I hope next year, obviously I hope homebrewing takes off more and more and more and more. And the amount of Blickman stuff that's been coming through here, it's making it look pretty good.
What is Blickman?
Blickman is probably the highest end brewing equipment you can get.
And people are ordering it.
Yeah, I've sold some very big equipment here in the last couple of days.
Cool. So I guess people are getting geared up for a long winter of brewing.
I think that, and like a lot of people want to start microbreweries, so they kind of have something they can use for both. Like I had a 55-gallon mash tun here the other day. I just sold a 14-gallon conical fermenter. I think I have a 60-gallon conical fermenter on its way.
Wow.
They have a really neat system called the Brew Easy. I think I got somebody wants one of those.
That's crazy.
I'm hoping this is going to lead to more and more and more homebrewers.
We spoke about this before, the niche market of brewing in a restaurant for that restaurant and that restaurant alone.
Yeah.
I would love to see more of that.
I think that's what Chesapeake Brewing Company out of Crisfield. I think that's what they're doing right now.
They're not distributing it all?
No.
They're hopefully going to be on the show. I actually spoke with them. We hope to have them on the show soon. We will ask them.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, if you'd like to join us on the show, please make sure you comment or just shoot me an email at the stateofthebeer.com website. On the website, don't email it to stateofthebeer.com. There is no email there. You like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, all those things. Comment on the bottom. We say this because we think it's 1995 and it amuses us.
We could put a bunch of annotations like here.
No, last but not least, we've got a class coming up on October 25th here at the Laurel Shop.
Mm-hmm.
It's a basic homebrewing course.
Yes.
If you're interested in homebrewing, I've been to a bunch of them. It's a lot of fun. There's always some beer and snacks, and it's like a party where people also are brewing. And what I've been pitching lately is, if you're interested in just coming out and having that experience, and you get 4 or 5 guys together, or 4 or 5 people, I don't mean men, I mean humans, together, you can come out and they'll do a special class just for you and your friends. And it's just fun. It's just a fun way to do things. It's a great way to spend, was it 2 hours, 3 hours out the door?
Yeah, roughly. Especially for that or the wine class.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a movie. It's like a long movie.
Yeah, but you actually get, to drink without smuggling it in.
Absolutely. And if you're interested in having a particular brewery on, or a brewer, or you have any questions about a particular beer, again, just shoot them to us. We will get them answered. We hope to have brewers on the podcast starting in November. We may have one before that. We're trying to get somebody for next week, but if not, certainly by Halloween we'll be up and running with a guest every week. and with your questions, answers, and thank you for subscribing. Thank you for listening.
Oh, one last thing. Coming up in November, first or second week, we're looking to do an all-grain class. We only do it twice a year, so if you want to come out, that's when to do it. Take that next step in brewing.
Awesome.
Until then.
Well, and drink good beer. That's
Yes. That's a 5-hour class, so eat plenty.
Yes. All right. Thanks, guys.
See you.